All right, I would like to talk a bit about climate change, and something that I pay a lot of attention to is the Arctic sea ice and the Antarctic sea ice. And this year, the Antarctic sea ice has gone off on a trajectory all of its own. So I'm going to bring up a picture so that you can see that. Now, as you can see, all of the other, see, it's a chart with a curve on it, and all of the lines are the previous years, right back to 1980, which you can see at the right hand side of the picture. And you can see that this year, 2023, has gone off on its own trajectory. Now, this is a massive anomaly, and is about what if it weren't for global warming, this would be something like 1 in 70 million, which is quite a lot. The chances of actually picking that one is quite something. 20 billion, 1 in 20 billion, 1 in 70 billion. It's something like 6.6 standard deviations from the mean, which is the middle line. So, you know, very rare occurrence. So very likely climate change is now strongly affecting the Antarctic, and as the ice melts, then you get this albedo effect where the sun isn't being reflected off the ice and out away from the earth. It's being just absorbed into the sea. So this starts a whole cycle of it getting warmer. And if this carries on in this way, this is now the winter on the south poles. If it carries on in this way through the summer, it looks like there's a good chance of there being no ice by the end of the summer, which would be really quite something. Everybody's expecting to see no ice in the Arctic, but it looks like it may happen in the Antarctic first. But let's hope that this is calming down now and may somehow go back to its mean. But to me, it looks like we have gone over a tipping point. Something quite strong has happened there. So, yeah, so you can do that as you wish. I noticed that a lot of people don't believe, they just think it's a government conspiracy, the climate change. For me, I think a lot of things. I think the government, multinational companies, completely running the whole show, and all sorts of devious stuff is going on. But for me, climate change, and I may be wrong, is real. And I think the answers to it that are being put out aren't correct from the establishment, that you've got to have more sun power, you've got to have more wind power. I think not. I've investigated atomic energy, and it's not as dangerous as people think. And at least for me, it's not. And for me, there's these atomic power stations that have never been built. They were the first ones to be investigated. They're called molten salt reactors. They use up all of the uranium, so there's no waste. They can't melt down because they're already working in a melted down state. So they're very safe. They will last. We only used about 1% of the fuel at the minute. The rest becomes waste. So they will go nearly 100 times longer for the same amount of uranium put in them. And for me, that and hydrogen power, from all of the extra power from that energy, you can produce hydrogen from water, and that will produce heating for houses and fuel for cars. So that is my vision, rather than having all of these solar powers that you have to break down 20 years later, and no real way, it just becomes waste. They're full of all sorts of cadmium and different things. So whereas nuclear power stations, everything in the end is pretty recyclable, at least if you're using molten salt, which I think one day we will be. And also molten salt reactors, you can use the present waste to fuel them, so they will use up the waste. So that's my image going forwards. But I don't think, for me, I don't think climate change is a conspiracy theory. I think it's real. I think maybe the ways of mending it are being put out wrong. I'm in favour of nuclear power and molten salt reactors. All right, end of video. I've loads of videos on meditation, holographic breathing, loads of guided meditations. They're all there, so you can enjoy those. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.